Hi, my name is Robin Wynn. I'm a city worker of 23 years. One thing about this mayor that's running, notice I said mayor.
Right on. Right.
He cares about the way the people feel. He cares about us as workers out there cleaning up this dirty city. I work in the stormwater department, and when that sewage spilled on the streets, guess who had to go clean that stuff up with no proper hazmat gear on, no breathing apparatus? We could be sick right now, stuff in our system, because they don't care nothing about our health. So we need to do something about this, because if it rains tonight, tomorrow, and the next day, we're going to have another spill. Yeah. So we need to jump on this thing right now. So I just want to say, Jesse, when you become mayor, listen to the workers, because we the one that does the work. Yeah. The workers' committees that you're talking about, we really need that.
2 years ago, the sewers backed up into my house. And I was the lucky recipient of sewer water in my bathroom, my floor, in my laundry room, as well as all the businesses and houses around me. So I've been really curious as to how these new buildings were going to deal with the sewer issue, especially on my block, because it affected me directly. So, are you guys expanding the sewer lines? What's going to happen? Are you just tying in? And they said, well, we're going to expand the drains, but we're just tying into the sewer lines. And I was like, okay, so this is an 85-unit apartment complex. On top of the 305-unit apartment complex they just built on the next block. On top of the police structure that they're building on the block above me. And I talked to them also, and they're just tying into the existing sewer system. I actually talked to a woman at the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. And when I told her Reparations plan to exorbitantly tax the single-family houses for fixing their sewer system, which they're saying is the huge problem here, she actually laughed. She was like, he said, what? And I was like, yeah. He wants to throw this ginormous tax on all these single-family housing units because it's their sewer systems that's a major issue. Well, it's not. It's just a way for him to get us to pay and pay and pay for his mistakes. So this needs to stop. These two are the answer.
As more building goes up and being built around the city, of course there's going to be more sewage. Everybody knew it was going to come a day that they was going to regret closing that plant. And that needs to be addressed and also needs to be reopened. No matter what it takes, because it is a hazard to everyone in this city. I've worked out there in that, and it's not a pretty sight, and it wasn't a wonderful smell. Like Robin said earlier, we wasn't given the proper gear. We was given some knee-high boots, some gloves. I was even out there to the college, where all that overflowing is spilling. We've had different candidates over the years running for mayor, city council. They've made promises and promises. Of course, a lot of them weren't kept. I'm hoping this time around that your promises be kept.
I want to appreciate that testimony, and we, of course, as candidates understand, again, that the workers are, you guys are the day-to-day function to get the city going, and this is why we believe in workers' power and why you guys have to have control in what's in the affairs of what's going on in y'all's departments.
I really want to appreciate, what was your name? Lamont. Thank you so much for being here and what you said, and I just want to reiterate what Akila just said, that, yes, the workers have to have power, and these workers' committees, workers' councils need to come to fruition, and that it's so true that politicians always come in and make these empty promises, and that happens over and over and over and over again. And that was part of why I wanted to be here and have these town hall meetings, because I'm not a politician, and this is not about making false promises to the people, that I'm I'm going to do these things when I'm elected. This is about saying that the people need to rule. The people need to come to power in this city.
They think, well, they can dump it on the black community. That's cool. People let it happen. They do that, they're poisoning all of us.
That's right.
You can destroy the schools in the black community. What do we got? An entire school system turning out millions and millions of morons. Oh, cut the hospitals in the black community. Well, all of a sudden, all our health care is going to hell. This idea that you can destroy one part of the working class for the benefit of another part of the working class is a complete and utter lie. It's been a long time since I've heard the phrase workers' power.
Right?
But that is where we're at. That's where we're going. That's what these candidates are creating for all of us. Thank you.
One of the solutions that I think would be really exciting, I read an article about they're installing in a city in Oregon pipes that when water goes through them, electricity is generated. So to me, every time you flush your toilet, if the water's going through and the power of that water is turning something that's creating electricity, we could get rid of Duke Energy as well.
One of the things that's so exciting about this campaign is that the genius of the people can finally be unleashed when we win. Because when the decision making, when the problem solving is actually motivated by the people and meeting the needs of the people, then true creativity and brilliance can flourish. You think about how much is stifled by living in a city where people who run the show are motivated by profit. That's the only thing they care about, is making money for themselves.
I just wanted to make an observation in relationship to what the brother here said about always being tricked by politicians. Politicians lie. They do a lot of it in these churches when they come through trying to win. Their politicians lie. And I think that one of the questions we have to be able to ask is, what were you doing before you decided to run for office?
Yep.
Is this the only time suddenly you get interested in serving the people? When you look at these candidates here, we're looking at people who were serving the people before, and if they're running for office, they're doing it, we can assume, to serve the people now. What was Christ doing before he ran for office? What was Carl Nurse doing before he ran for office? And I think those are the kinds of questions that we need to ask. Look at the track records before, and that gives us some significance, some idea about what they'll do once they re-elect them.
Yeah, I want to ask, what's the current reason they're giving for keeping outdoor plant closed at this time?
Thank you. Yeah, they never really gave a reason, as Akile said, and they stated that part of it was to save money, which is a joke because now it's going to cost the city $300 billion at minimum. Now apparently that doesn't include all the penny for Pinellas money that can't go towards affordable housing because Chrysler needs to use to fix the sewage, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, they said it was to save money. That's why they shut down the plant, despite the fact that they knew that shutting down the plant would be a disaster. And then even after that was revealed, they refused to reopen it. So,
As workers, we fight, every year? To try to get a dollar increase.
Yeah.
A couple dollars increase. As soon as we get it, things go up, the insurance go up.
yeah, exactly.
You know, that's why the employees be so fed up with what's going on within the city. Because we're being treated unfairly also. But see, we know a lot that's going on in the community. And that's why the community also need to open their eyes and see what's really going on.
And I've seen the people of Flint, the people in that community, so hopeless and just not having a voice, and they still have dirty water right now in Flint. And they blame the people, and they say the people have to pay all this money to get new pipes in the ground in Flint. and we organized in Flint. But the significance of St. Pete is that you have Jesse and you have Akile that's running for office, that's saying stuff that people in Flint don't have. And so this has to be a blueprint to show the world what we have to have in the community, where they are poisonous, and so I just really appreciate your campaign, and we have to support, and the people have to win, and the people's voice have to be heard, and we have to show the world what it looked like to fight.
That's right.
So I really appreciate this.
Y'all, when we put it in the same backyard where the dome sit, and it's all polluted.
Yeah.
That was our backyard. The city of St. Pete and people gave.
Wow.
They ain't give us no restitution.
Right on.
Thank you very much.
From what I understand, the meters weren't broken, it was that they went around them and that they also unlocked pipes, and I'm sure people from water research would know more, but this was what was written up in a newspaper even, and it's never talked about. They tried to get a worker to open this thing that you're not supposed to, and he refused, and they retaliated against him, and that the other, the supervisor, they forged the logs and stuff like that. So I think those kind of things can expose.
In fact, there was an article in The Guardian that listed St. Petersburg as one of 30 cities that actually cheated the water test to make it look like there was less lead in the water than there actually was. So there's sewage in the water, there's lead in the water, but we don't even know the half of it.
It's disheartening, it's disturbing to hear about antibacterial resistant bacteria now that's blooming in our water. I have two parents who are elderly and sick. They're not able to come tonight because they have some kind of bacteria, one in her throat, the other in his stomach, that is resistant to antibiotics for some reason. This is something that affects us personally on every level, and we've got to go all out for these two because this is our lives work.
We're going to put some common sense solutions in place in this city. No more progressive except for injustice against the black community. Progressive through justice to the black community. Common sense solutions. Black people should be paid for the work they've done. Reparations. Very common sense. Makes sense. The people who know how to run the city should run the city. Workers' power. Makes sense. Start building the infrastructure of the sewage system. Common sense. Common sense solutions. Reopen the Albert-Whitted sewage plant. A common sense solution. Give that land under the Tropicana field back to the black community to build a So these common sense solutions, they're only radical solutions because we have this status quo in place. That's what makes them radical solutions. I just want to close out by again thanking everyone for being here. I want to thank everyone who spoke. I want to thank everyone who signed up to organize in this campaign to make this victory real. And just close by saying, radical times, radical solutions. Workers, power. Unity through reparations. We are